Celtic in the Champions League with all the build-up and reaction on Independence Live.
Good evening and welcome to our special Locker Room European special on a Wednesday night. I am Graeme Duffy, if you don't know that by now, where you've been living, and I'm here to talk Celtic 1, Club Brugge 1 at Celtic Park. This will be a shorter show tonight, of maybe about half an hour or so, because I am on my own, and it's difficult to talk to yourself for half an hour, let alone an hour. So I'll maybe cut the show a little bit short, but I will look back at the game from tonight. Like I said, Celtic 1, Club Brugge 1 at Celtic Park. A result that now puts Celtic 19th in the table with Club Brugge 22nd. But the biggest story of the night, I think, is Real Madrid, who got beat 2-0 by Liverpool, my English team, who are now sitting 24th in the league. Who'd have thought that at the start of this campaign? But anyway, yeah, Celtic went into this game in very good form, as we all know. They were 10 unbeaten in all competitions on the back of that 4-1 win over Hearts on Sunday, unfortunately for me, against the Club Brugge side, who were sitting second in their Belgium league, and their last game was at the weekend and they beat St Truiden by 7-0. So this was not going to be easy for Celtic, but I think most people in the form that Celtic are on thought that Celtic win this game, me being one of them, the way that Celtic have been playing, especially at home. But it was a very interesting game. But if we look at Celtic starting 11, it was the same team that defeated Hearts on Sunday. So it was Castro, Schmeichel in goal, the back four of Johnston, Carter, Vickers, Trusty and Taylor. Then midfield, McGregor, Hatate and Engels, and Kuhn, Maeda and Kyogo. On the bench for Celtic, it was the sub-goalkeeper Sinisalo, Scales, Palma, Ida, Valley, Yang, McCowan, Nawrocki, Bernardo, Forrest, Ralston and Welsh. Very good lineup for Celtic. Kind of expected. I don't think anyone really was surprised at that lineup. It's a very, very strong Celtic lineup. And to be honest, I didn't think they started the game that well. You know, at home against Bruges, I thought they would really go after Bruges right from the start and dominate the ball, dictate the game. They weren't allowed to do that. I was very, very impressed with Bruges, not just early on, but through the whole game. I thought they were fantastic. Now, the first chance did fall for Bruges in the first 5 minutes. Ferran Dukla, who I thought was very impressive throughout the whole game, he had a strike just wide from the edge of the box. A couple minutes later, Skov Olsen, I think's his name, he had a shot just deflected wide. So it was pretty much at that point, it was a very good start for Bruges, who were pressing very high. Now, I've not seen a lot of Club Brugge because I don't watch a lot of Belgian football. Maybe I should have, because Hearts are playing our Belgian side tomorrow in the Conference League, but I don't watch a lot of Belgian football. But I was very impressed with the way that Bruges pressed. You know, going to Celtic Park is never easy. As everybody knows, it's a very difficult place to go to, and especially in that kind of hostile atmosphere at Celtic Park. But I thought Bruges looked very, very dangerous. They looked very impressive. They moved the ball really quickly. They were very, very quick up front as well. I thought they looked very, very impressive all the way through. Celtic did come into the game 14 minutes in. Daiza Maeda, who I think on the night was probably Celtic's best outlet, to be honest. He absolutely rinses his defender, pulls the ball back for Engels, and his shot is put wide. Now, I don't really want to be critical because obviously I'm not a Celtic fan, but I like Scottish football. Engels cost £11 million. And I think at the start when he came in, he actually looked pretty decent. I don't think he's been as good recently. Now, of course, form can improve. Of course it can. There's no doubt he's a very good player, or he wouldn't have cost the money that he is. But I'm just not seeing that kind of spark from him just now. I don't know what it is. You know, maybe just a bit of a loss of form. You've got guys like McCowan there. You've got Bernardo. You've got quality you can bring off the bench. I do wonder if maybe he might not start the next game. We have our first comment from Michael Harrison, who says, "Hi, Graeme. Hope you're well, pal. I'm very, very well, mate. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying my first 5 minutes so far on my own." It's really hard to do this on your own, by the way, because you've got to talk to yourself. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought Celtic did come out of the game, but the opening goal, 26 minutes, came for Bruges, and it was no real surprise. But the way the goal was scored was a massive surprise, and it's one that Carter Vickers will not want to see again. And again, it all comes from the press that Bruges have. They're pressing Celtic all over the park. Celtic go back the way the ball is played to Carter Vickers in his own box. Now, Carter Vickers isn't looking, but he clearly thinks that Schmeichel is just behind him in his goal. He doesn't realise that Schmeichel's not on his goal. He's out wide a little bit. And of course, he tries to put the ball back, and you can see as soon as he does it, he's got his head in his hands thinking, what have I done? Schmeichel can't get back quick enough, and it's 1-0 to Brugge. But it wasn't like the goal wasn't coming, because Brugge had been excellent for that first 25 minutes, and they deserved to score. You know, it had been coming, but Carter Vickers has been outstanding for Celtic since he signed. Everybody makes mistakes. That's a big one, of course it is. But he's still a top-class defender, and he will get over that very, very quickly. And then you kind of think, right, how are Celtic going to react to that? Can they get a foothold in the game? Can they come back from that? To be honest, there wasn't really many signs of that. I still thought Bruce looked very, really dangerous. Like I keep saying, I was so impressed with him tonight. Not many teams go to Celtic Park and kind of dictate a game like that and play with that kind of high press, which is very difficult to do. But Bruce did that for pretty much most of the game. And again, kind of the next chance again falls to Bruce. There were a couple other chances after that as well. Michael Harrison said you could tell they were a good side. I mean, it just goes to show that I generally don't really watch a lot of Belgian football, because if I had, I might have seen that. But I was so impressed with him. I really was. There was a chance in 37 minutes, a diving header from Hatate that was easily held by Simon Mignolet. And again, who knew that Mignolet played for Club Brugge, ex-Liverpool goalkeeper? Somebody that I wasn't a massive fan of at Liverpool, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, there wasn't really much in the way of chances for Celtic in that first half. I mean, I don't think the midfield really of McGregor, Hatate and Engels really got involved in the game enough. And Callum McGregor, somebody that I've said no so many times to Michael and Reagan and anyone that listens to me, I'm a massive fan of McGregor. He's somebody that I would love in that Hearts team, because what he does, he dictates the tempo of games. He gets his foot on the ball, he makes passes, he very rarely loses it, and you very rarely see him flustered. If you look back at the last European game they had, I think it was RB Leipzig at home, I think one of the goals comes from McGregor. You know, he's in his own half. He's got about 3 or 4 players around him. He deals with the situation, passes it out calmly, and Celtic score from it. He's just such a class player. But tonight, he was stifled, I thought, by that Bruges midfield. I thought Bruges were brilliant all over the park. And McGregor couldn't be let in the game. Hatate, who came alive in the last European game at home, I don't think he had as effective a game. And again, you look at the game at Tynecastle last week, first half, Celtic were pretty poor by their standards. Hearts were excellent first half. But second half, Celtic stepped it up, and Hatate was brilliant in that second half. Today, just maybe wasn't really his kind of game. He just couldn't get a foot on the ball and make things happen. But nobody really in that Celtic side first half really stood out. I think probably Kasper Schmeichel was probably, well, he was a buzzer of the goalkeepers. But second half, you're expecting a reaction. You know, half time comes and you're thinking, right, Celtic are the 1-0 down here. They've got plenty of time to win this. And I actually thought at half time, my immediate reaction was Celtic had done around and win the game, because that's just what they tend to do, especially at Celtic Park. And again, it was actually Bruce that started the game second half a lot better. I'm going to absolutely butcher this name. But 50 minutes in, Maxime Disciper, I think his name is, he has a really good effort, tipped just wide of the post by Schmeichel, who again is such a fantastic goalkeeper. After fantastic one-touch passing from their own penalty box, great football. And you're at that point thinking, if Bruges get a second here, it could be curtains for Celtic, because they just look so strong over the park. But to be fair to Celtic, as they do, they come back into the game, 52 minutes on the clock. Rio Hatate has an effort from 20 yards out, which is just wide on his left foot. Really good effort. And then again, it kind of, I thought after about the hour mark, the kind of game swung, kind of was going back and forward. Just before Celtic scored in the hour mark, there's another really good chance as well for Bruges, where Olsen should have scored at the back post, but he puts his volley over the bar. Again, if that goes in, it's a different game. I don't think Celtic come back. But as you have to do, you have to just see it out. You got to see it at the tide. Celtic did that, and then 60 minutes on the clock, the guy I mentioned earlier, Daiza Maeda, he has been fantastic this season for Celtic. Now, everyone looks at Kuhn, who's had a great season, 10 goals this season. But Maeda, it's just that little bit of a spark that Celtic need. He's so quick. He never stops. And what a finish this is. Gets the ball on the left-hand side, just inside the penalty box, chops back on his right foot, and it's a sensational finish into the bottom corner. fantastic goal, raises the roof of Celtic Park. And that is when you then start to think, right, Celtic win this game now. Celtic will just go and win this game 3 or 4 now. And I have to give credit to Brugge here, because again, when a lot of teams go to Celtic Park, I've seen it so many times, not just in Scotland, but Europe as well, because teams that play in Europe can find it very difficult to go to Celtic Park. But you're kind of thinking, what will happen now? Will Brugge react? Will Celtic go win this game now? I thought the game then swung from end to end. It became very, very open. I don't know if that was the kind of game Celtic wanted, because Brugge were still creating plenty of chances. But it is a brilliant goal from Eder. There wasn't really much else on for him, and to finish that from there is a fantastic finish against Mignolet. But as I say, the game does swing back and forward. Brugge have had a couple of other chances after that. Then Bernardo has a shot just wide the left-hand post when he cuts on his right foot. And for about the last 10 minutes, it was a bit of a ding-dong battle. Both teams could have won it. Brugge had a couple of really good chances as well. But in the end, does a draw really suit either team? Probably not. But I still think that Celtic will qualify. And I've said this before to Michael. I still think Celtic have got enough to get through this group. Whether it's through finishing the top 8, whether it's the playoff, I still think Celtic get through. They've got winnable games coming up, especially at home. I know they've got Aston Villa away, which is going to be a very, very difficult game. But you know what? There's no reason Celtic can go there and think we can get a point here. But I think the games they've got before that, I think, are very winnable. Michael says, Celtic seemed to control possession, but Kyogo was fairly non-existent. Valley was decent when he came on. Yeah, see, I don't think with Kyogo, he doesn't really have to do a lot, but he tends to score. You look at the game on Sunday against Hearts, wasn't really involved first half. Second half, he gets the luck of the ball and he finishes it. That's just what Kyogo does. But he's a pest. He plays on the shoulder. His movement, as I spoke about numerous times on the show, his movement is sensational. He just never stops. And Kyogo is one of these guys that you can never, ever take your eye off because he is capable of doing something. He didn't maybe have his best game tonight, but I think there's a number of players on that Celtic side tonight you could say maybe weren't at their best. But again, I think you've got to give Brugge credit for that. The way that Brugge came to Celtic Park really, really played some fantastic stuff. Some of the football they played, that chance I spoke about were a one-touch passing from inside their own half. Sensational. You don't see many teams doing that at Celtic Park. But Brugge were excellent. They made it very difficult for Celtic. But like I said, Celtic now sitting 19th after that. Brugge sitting 22nd. If Brugge keep playing like that, I think they'll get through as well. But I genuinely think Celtic have got a very good chance of getting through this. I think Christian, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, Christian Chulis, I think his name is. He got a hat-trick for Club Brugge on the weekend against St Truiden. I thought he looked really dangerous. There was a few in that Brugge side that I thought were very, very impressive. And again, like I said, if you look at the fact they're sitting second in the Belgian league, they won 7-0 at the weekend. They're obviously a very good side. And at times tonight, I thought they were the far better side. Probably a point is not a bad result for Celtic if you look at that overall, if you look at the game overall. But I'm looking at that Celtic bench tonight. You look at the bench, they've got Scales, Palma, Ida, Valley, Yang, McKeown, Bernardo, Forrest. They've got such a strong bench, which is why I do think they will get through this. Probably in the playoff, I think. I don't know if they finish top 8, but I think they can definitely get the playoff. And they'll be in Europe after Christmas, which is, fantastic for Celtic. And coming out of this game, they were 10 games unbeaten in all competitions. Their last defeat was Borussia Dortmund, where they obviously got taken apart, but that can happen to any team. But coming out of this game, I think if you'd offered Celtic, any Celtic fan, 7 points from their opening 4 games, I think they'd have taken it. And some of the games they've actually played very well. I'll go back to the Atalanta game away from home. After they'd just been hammered by Dortmund, I think a lot of folk went into that game thinking Celtic will get hammered here. Atalanta are a really, really good side, especially at home. The lad that they got up front, Kramaric, missed 4 or 5 big chances, but Celtic got away with that for the 0-0 draw. And I thought they played really well. And that was without Carter Vickers. They had a defence that was leaking a lot of goals. There was a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of talk about Trusty and Scales. But to be fair to Trusty, he's been very impressive recently. Him and Carter Vickers have got that bit of a partnership at the back now. And I thought at times tonight they needed that. Take away the own goal that Carter Vickers scores, which will haunt him. But I think him and Trusty have got a very good partnership there at the back, and they are pretty solid. So yeah, Celtic have got a very, very strong squad there. And I think tonight will be a disappointing one for Brendan Rodgers that they've not maybe done more in the game. But I keep going back to the point that I've made already. You have to give credit to Brugge for going there and actually getting a very, very good result against a very good Celtic side. It's a fantastic result for them. Michael says, and Atalanta won 6-1 last night. Great side they are, so Celtic still was a great result. Yeah, I mean, we did the show. I can't remember, was it me and Reagan that were on, I think, after that? Or me and Robbie? But we did the show after the game, and I said, that's a massive, massive result for Celtic. Because to go to Atalanta, a very, very good side, because I've watched Atalanta a few times, they're a very, very good side. Like guys like Kramaric, Zappa, Costa, they've got a very good side there. For Celtic to go there, and yes, Atalanta had chances, they're always going to, but Celtic kept a clean sheet and actually created chances of their own. So yeah, it's been a very, very good start for Celtic in this group. That's 5 games now, and they're sitting 19th. I don't think that's a bad start. I really don't. With games to come that I think they can definitely win. So there are very positive signs for Celtic, not just in this Champions League, but overall. They're having a very, very good season. Obviously, Aberdeen dropped points yesterday in the league as well. More bonus points for Celtic without even playing. So yeah, Celtic are in very, very good form. I think there's a couple of players I do want to touch on though. One of them is Alistair Johnston. Now, I think he's obviously been offered a new deal. I think Alistair Johnston's been fantastic. He's easily, I think, he probably is the best right back in Scotland, I would say. I have to say that. I think he's been fantastic. And getting that new deal, I think he thoroughly deserves it. He's very good going forward. Very, very rarely gets beat one-on-one as well defensively. I think he's a fantastic defender. Fair play to Celtic for getting him in, because I think he's been brilliant. Michael, Atalanta, decent bet to win Serie A. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Serie A, but I try and watch some of the games. And Atalanta are a team that I do like watching because I've seen a few of their games. They're a very, very good side. Very, very good side. So yeah, I think Alistair Johnston's been fantastic. But also, something I've said to Michael and Reagan numerous times, and I will keep repeating this fact, I think Kasper Schmeichel is an upgrade on Joe Hart. Now, there's no doubt that Joe Hart's a very good goalkeeper. I've always liked Kasper Schmeichel. Was at Leicester City. He's a phenomenal goalkeeper. There's been a couple of mistakes in him, but not many. I just think he's a top-class goalkeeper. He's made a couple of big saves tonight when he's needed. That's what you want. That's what you want. Your goalkeeper to make big saves at big moments. Kasper Schmeichel does that. I think he's a top-class goalkeeper. So, yeah, I honestly look at that Celtic side and I'm envious. I'm not going to lie, I am. Guys like Nicholas Kuhn, who's having an amazing season. It wasn't that long ago that some Celtic fans were writing Kuhn off, saying this guy's not good enough. He's not an upgrade on Jota. I don't really think any Celtic fans saying that now because his form's been brilliant. Maybe it wasn't great tonight, maybe a little bit off it, but he's still that kind of player that you need on your side. Gets a really good goal against Hearts at Tynecastle on Sunday. He's had a fantastic season. So yeah, Celtic have got the enviable, such an enviable squad, I think. And you look at the bench, they've got Adam Ida they can bring on, who again was really good on Sunday when they came on against Hearts. So they've just got a very, very good side. And the fact that they're now 11 games unbeaten all competitions, including tonight, it's impressive from Brendan Rodgers' side. You have to say that. But I was very, very impressed with the game. I thought it was a decent game of football. I think in a neutral tuning at that would see two very good sides, two sides that were really going at it. But I don't think anybody will be looking at Club Brugge tonight thinking they're going to be easy to play against, because they're not. They really play some fantastic football. And it was actually a joy to watch that game tonight. Just two teams that really wanted to go for it, two teams that have a game plan and a style of football. And fair play to both teams for putting a very good performance. But I think at the end of the day, it's probably a better point for Celtic. Even though they're at home, that was a very good Brugge side. And I think it's a good point for Celtic with, like I said, winnable games to come. So yeah, fair play to both teams, fair play to Celtic for getting that point. And then I move on to the league. I think their next game is on Saturday. We'll be doing a show, obviously, in the locker room on Friday. We're also doing a show tomorrow. Now, I don't know if we're doing it after, a before and after show like we normally do, but we'll put it out on social media. So we're talking about Hearts and Rangers in Europe tomorrow. Rangers travel to France to take on Nice in the later kick-off, and Hearts travel to Belgium to take on Cercle Brugge in the Conference League. Now, we'll just touch very quickly on those two. Nice against Rangers. I don't know what to expect from this game because I have seen nothing of Nice. And that's just being honest. I haven't seen anything of them. But Rangers go into this on the back of really poor form. You know, another game against Dundee United on Sunday where they were very poor, very slow, very pedestrian. There's not a lot of quality in that Rangers side. They rely very heavily on Czerny. He's their only really creative outlet. They don't have much else. I think Connor Barron's been decent. Dujon Sterling coming out right back. I'd assume that he'll probably start again tomorrow over James Tavernier, who does get a lot of stick. So yeah, I don't know what to expect from this game tomorrow. But the thing is, as I said on Friday to the guys, Rangers are a different side in Europe than their league. And I think it's because there's not a lot of pressure on them. You know, I don't think anyone really expect Rangers to do well in Europe. But they do. You know, they do it constantly. I don't know how, but I think it's because of lack of pressure. In the league, in the Premier League, there is pressure on every week. In Europe, there's not really that pressure on them. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Rangers go to France and get a result. It really wouldn't. And it wouldn't surprise me if Cyril Dessers scores. Because again, in Europe, he does tend to score. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 tomorrow for that game. Because I genuinely don't know what Nice are like. I've got no idea if they're a good side or not, because I've not watched enough of them. But just because Rangers in Europe, it honestly is a game that I wouldn't be surprised if they take something from. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 for Nice against Rangers. Moving on to Hearts against Cercle Brugge. Hearts going into this game, obviously, again, maybe not in great form. We were pretty decent first half against Celtic. Second half, though, as soon as Celtic got the first goal, we just fell apart, which is understandable. But we've done all right in Europe so far. You know, performance has been quite decent under Critchley. I've been quite pleased with what I've seen, but we're just not taking our chances. Against Heidenheim, plenty of chances, didn't take them. Against Celtic, plenty of chances, didn't take them. Against Rangers, 2 big chances, didn't take them. So yeah, good evening to Morgan. Hope you're well, Morgan, pal. So yeah, I'm very jealous of the Hearts fans, my mates that are over there in Belgium tonight, because they're having an absolute blast. I've seen the pictures and it looks amazing. I wish I was with them. But unfortunately, work commitments mean that I can't do that. So yeah, it should be an interesting game tomorrow. And I think the fact that we've got 6 points on the board, I genuinely think one more win takes us through with 2 games to go against Copenhagen and Petro Cup. Now, I think the Petro Cup game in a couple of weeks' time at Tynecastle, the game that I'll be at, is a game that we're going to win. So that's 9 points. I'm going to get that wrong. I'm going to get that so wrong now. I'm going to look at it. But yeah, I think that's a game that Hearts can definitely win. But if we can take a point tomorrow, I'd be delighted with that. We need Lawrence Shankland to start scoring goals because he's just not scoring, as we all know. Nice v Rangers draw would be good, Graeme. They've had a lot of draws so far this season. Well, there you go. Maybe a 1-1 draw is not that bad a shout then for me. I'm going to get that wrong as well. Of course I am, because my predictions are terrible, as everyone knows. But yeah, I think in terms of Hearts tomorrow, like I say, I've been impressed with Critchley so far. I've liked what he's done. The fact that he's trying to play with a high intensity, a high press. But we do tend to kind of struggle a bit second half because something I mentioned before, I don't think we had enough games during pre-season. We had 3 pre-season games. That's not enough. We just don't look fit enough, and it's because of that. So yeah, if we can get a point tomorrow, I'd be delighted with that. You know, Cercle Brugge have had a decent season. They are currently sitting, I think it's 15th in the league, in the Conference League. So it'll be a difficult game. They've got a lot of injuries. They sold their best player, Kevin Denke, and he was going to be suspended anyway. So that's a big plus for us as well. But I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen tomorrow. I would love to take a point. Michael reckons, I reckon we can beat Cercle Brugge. I certainly hope so. That would be fantastic when we get a win and then try and build up on that. It's funny because I was asked on something else. On one of the podcasts, actually, they said, what's the bigger game for Hearts? Is it Cercle Brugge or is it Aberdeen? It's Aberdeen for me. As much as I love European football, league's the bread and butter. We have to start winning games and climbing up that league. So as much as it's a bonus being in Europe, for me, the league's the bread and butter. So I think Sunday's a bigger game against Aberdeen. We have to win that game. We could go into that bottom of the league if Hibs beat Motherwell on Saturday. So I think Sunday's a bigger game. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and I'm probably going to go the same as I've just done for Nice against Rangers. I'm going to go 1-1 Hearts, Cercle Bruges. I think I'll take a draw tomorrow. 7 points with 2 games to go, and I think we will get through. I genuinely do believe that. I think we'll qualify through at least the playoff place. Michael says, I agree. Somebody agrees with me. Woo! I don't think a lot of folk do. And also, of course, we had the news yesterday that actually it was announced today that Shelley Kerr has now taken on a role of technical director at Hearts. So a lot of Hearts fans not happy with that, which I don't understand. I don't care that it's a woman that's taken over. If she's qualified for the job, I'm more than happy for that. Absolutely no issue with that at all. She'll be overseeing the B team and overseeing the kind of academy players and the kind of transition to the first team. No issue with that at all. We need a win via Aberdeen, and their record at Tiny is poor. Yeah, it's weird how stats happen like that, because our record at Pittodrie is terrible and Aberdeen's record at Tynecastle is even worse. So yeah, anyway, the 3 Scottish teams, Celtic, not a bad result tonight against a very good Club Brugge side. I was going to say Cercle Bruges there. And hopefully Hearts and Rangers can get a decent result away tomorrow against Nice and against Cercle Bruges. Aberdeen were pretty poor against Hibs, probably winnable for you. I certainly hope so, Morgan. You know, Aberdeen's record at Tynecastle is not good, but you kind of always think that's got to end sometime. Like, I thought a record at Pittodrie would end at some point. It still hasn't. But yeah, I mean, that game yesterday was mental. That was just crazy. And the fact that game wasn't on telly, a 3-3 draw, you know, what was it, 3 goals in the last minute? That was absolutely crazy. Fair play to Hibs. Have to give a credit to them, because at 3-2 down with that Sotcliffe goal, you kind of think the game's done. But fair play to Hibs for fighting back. They could have easily chucked that. So you've got to give them credit. It's a big, big result for Hibs and a big result for David Gray. He needed that. Because I think if they lost that, it would have put more pressure on David Gray. So maybe it does go to show there is something there with Hibs. Maybe they can get out of this, but they're going to have to keep doing that for the rest of the season. Best game all season. First home game I missed as well because I was ill. Oh, gutted, Morgan. Hope you're all right now, pal. So yeah, just to go back to the game tonight, like I said, a very, very good game of football. I keep saying that I thought Club Brugge were excellent, but I don't think it's a bad result for Celtic. Sitting 19th, they were obviously 18th before this game, but I don't think it's a bad result. Getting a decent draw against a very, very good Belgian side who I think will cause a lot of teams problems in this Champions League. And again, I just want to say this, I want to put this out there. Actually, before I do that, Michael says, folk must change their attitude to how footballers run nowadays. Jamestown will determine the type of people we employ at Hearts. You must let the process work. Exactly. But I saw a lot of comments when Shelley Kerr was announced, and a lot of Hearts fans weren't happy. Somebody said, please let us go bust. Somebody said, utter woke nonsense. I mean, seriously, some of these people need to get their head out the clouds. It's 2024, man. I have no issue with Shelley Kerr. If she's the right person for the job, I have no issue with that. And I actually did say on Friday, and Michael and that can back me up because I did say this on the show. I asked, do we think that a woman will ever manage a men's football team in the Premier League? This might be the closest we get, but I did say that. So, yeah, honestly, Michael, some of the comments I saw were crazy, mate. You wouldn't believe how ridiculous some of the comments were, but I didn't agree with any of them. I'm all for it. She's the best person for the job. I don't care who it is. Could be an alien from outer space. They're going to do a decent job. I don't care who it is. But yeah, I think, what was I going to say? My train of thought. Oh yeah, I was going to say, and I've said this again to the guys, that I like the new Champions League format. I think it is so much better than the normal league phase. You know, playing 6 games, playing 2 teams twice, home and away. I think this is so much better. You're playing different sides. You're playing home and away. I like the format. I like the fact it's a league format. I like the fact Liverpool are also top of this league, which I will just get in there as well. But yeah, I really enjoy the format. Same as I do for the Europa one and the Conference League. I think it's so much better. And it's not very often that I'm going to praise UEFA, but this is one thing I will praise them for. I think this has been a very, very good league format. And like I say, I still think Celtic can qualify. You know, I genuinely believe the games that they've got coming up, I think they've definitely got a chance of winning. And it might mean the Aston Villa game, the last game, doesn't really mean anything because they'll have qualified anyway. So yeah, I generally like the new format and I think it suits everybody. I've not really had a lot of folks saying they don't like it. So yeah, I'm all for this form. I think it looks very, very good. And Celtic are above Real Madrid. Let that sink in for a minute. Celtic are above Real Madrid. They are struggling. Now, I actually managed to watch 2 games tonight because I watched the Liverpool game and the Celtic game at the same time. See, who says men can't multitask? Josh Henderson. All right, Josh, how you doing, mate? Will Shankland go to another club in Scotland, Graeme? I don't think he will, personally. Now, the only club that everybody talked about was Rangers, but Rangers didn't want him. If they wanted him, they'd have signed him in the summer. I generally think Shankland will go abroad again. Now, it didn't work out for him, ironically, in Belgium. I think he might try going abroad again. I genuinely believe he might try and go abroad again. He might think he's got something to prove over there. I don't think he stays in Scotland personally. If he does, fair enough. Somebody actually asked me a while ago that if he does go to Rangers, he does leave, does he go with my best wishes? Of course he does. Absolutely. 59 goals in 2 seasons. Of course he does. He's having a drop in form just now, but it happens to everybody. I've seen so many top-class players. Am I classing Shankland in that? Yes, I am. But I'm joking. I've seen so many top-class players struggle for form, but they do find it again. And I still think Shankland will find it again. I think if we get a result tomorrow, Shankland will have a big say in that. So I genuinely don't think he will stay in Scotland personally. I'll be shocked if he hasn't already signed under the table for Rangers. I mean, if anybody watched was it Open Goal a couple of weeks ago with Joe Savage? Joe Savage said that there wasn't one bid for Shankland in the summer, which I'll admit I found very surprising because I thought there would have been at least 1 or 2, but there was nothing. And Joe Savage isn't going to lie about that, so I was genuinely surprised by that fact. Morgan says, I've seen a few Celtic fans say they think they could get a point, maybe even 3 against Villa. What do you think? It's a tough one, Morgan, because it depends if they're going there already qualified, because they've got 2 more games to go before that, and I think they could already get through that. So it depends, because both teams might then feel weak inside. I think if Celtic have to go there to get a win, I don't think they get in, because Villa, especially at Villa Park, are a very good side. But you just never know. You know, it's football. Things can change very quickly. Aston Villa could have gone on a poor run. They could get injuries. They could get suspensions. So anything could happen. But right now, I don't think that's a game that Celtic will go on and win. But you just never know. But I've said it before. I think Celtic win the next 2 games anyway, which will make that last game meaningless. But I am generally more surprised at Real Madrid sitting 24th. And they were poor tonight against Liverpool. Liverpool were excellent. But I thought Madrid were very poor. Mbappe was pretty much stifled. He missed a penalty. Don't know if there's another question here coming on. He missed a penalty. Conor Bradley was outstanding against them. But then Mbappe's not a striker. So yeah, it was a good performance from Liverpool tonight. They are flying in this league, and hopefully, well, I think we're definitely qualifying now anyway. So yeah, I will probably head off now because that's just over half an hour. I was only going to do half an hour because I can't talk for another half an hour. So yeah, you can join us tomorrow. We'll be doing our show certainly after the games tomorrow. So join us at 10 o'clock. If we're doing a preview show before that, we will put it on social media. So yeah, well done Celtic and Bruges tonight. Very, very good game. 1-1 draw at Celtic Park. And you can join us tomorrow for the Rangers against Nice and Cercle Bruges against Hearts. And let's hope both Scottish teams can raise the coefficient. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for your comments. It is much appreciated. It's very difficult to do this when nobody makes comments. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching. And as Michael said, come on the Hearts. See you, folks.
Celtic in the Champions League with all the build-up and reaction.